That's right.
Well, I think that most Americans should be put on the no-fly list, no visiting to England until they go through diversity training. I do think so. And Admiral Mullen, of course, as you well know, is a great military hero. No one knows what he's actually done to have been made the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He's very good at PR in his own mind. Was he in the military? I mean, he is in the military. He's the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. Has he actually shot a gun?
I think he did. Is probably a training school, perhaps.
Training. Well, that's what you need today. You don't want an actual hero or a warrior in the military, because that would frighten the enemy, right? Combat experience shows that they're macho and bloodthirsty.
That's right. They might have shot a BB gun or something like that, and that would get them upset.
There you go. And, of course, the animal rights activists would get upset if accidentally, let's say, an artillery shell landed in the field and killed a worm or a worm family.
Or a newt or something like that, yeah.
Well, that's it from the news world. What's next, Beowulf? Anything else strike you as odd?
Van Jones, who was speaking at an event in Washington, D.C. today, so as a part of the Green Brigade.
Van who? Van Johnson? Van Johnson?
Going back to the Hollywood days. No, Van Jones, the Green Czar that Obama appointed.
Oh, the young fellow from the streets of Oakland who created a group called Cop Watch.
That's right.
And harassed the police in San Francisco and Oakland for so many years. The avowed communist who is now inside the White House running the Green Room.
That's it.
And who has hundreds of millions of dollars of slush funds assigned to him. He could be the new czar of the new private military force that Obama talked about. He can get them from the gangs of Oakland. All we can do is remain vigilant and certainly avoid potency medication at the same time. Here. I wonder if all this use of Viagra and Levitra type compounds has some effect upon one's ability to see what's going on around them.
Well, if it creates
in other words,
blindness.
you become so focused on one particular part of your body that a dictator could arise. Instead of the big picture, let's put it that way, you're focused on the little picture.
It probably diminishes your critical faculties. I would assume.
Well, it certainly reduces the faculties to a certain point of reference. Well, we'll let it go at that.
Fair enough.
We will soon not only be banned in Britain, we'll likely be banned in America.
Savage. These guys are so hilarious. I almost drive off the road every morning.
Armstrong and Getty. Weekday morning, 6 to 10. Talk 910 KNEW.
You know, we've talked about the possibility of a new so-called fairness doctrine. With the FCC now having a chief diversity officer, Sieg Heil, well, that will bring the fear of government-controlled talk radio to the forefront. We're not alone in our concerns over the government controlling the media. Joining us now is a senator, a real one, who has expressed his concerns about this. Senator Charles Grassley. We're very proud to have him on. He's from Iowa. He's here on the Savage Nation. Senator Charles Grassley, you recently wrote a letter to the FCC expressing your concerns about the FCC's so-called chief diversity officer, Mark Lloyd. What are your concerns?
Well, those concerns are that he's been writing on political talk radio, and it leads me to believe that it may be a backdoor effort to bring the fairness doctrine back in. And I'm opposed to the fairness doctrine. In fact, it's been on my mind ever since the Obama administration came into office, because that party campaigned on reinstituting the fairness doctrine. And so when the new FCC chairman, Janikowski, was appointed on April the 22nd, I met with him in my office before his confirmation because I wanted to nail him down on the fairness doctrine, and he said he opposed the fairness doctrine. Then comes along in July the appointment of Mark Lloyd, the chief diversity officer, and things that he wrote. So then I followed up after I read what Mr. Lloyd might be up to. I wrote the FCC chairman again on August the 14th to clarify and confirm the position he gave me on April the 22nd, that he was opposed to the fairness doctrine. I did get back a letter 10 days later, August the 24th, reaffirming his position that he didn't want the fairness doctrine. Now, all of this activity is mine to make sure that the fairness doctrine isn't either front-doored or back-doored by the FCC.
Are there any indication as to why he may have changed his position on the fairness doctrine that you know of?
Well, now, I want to make it clear. According to the meeting in my office on April the 22nd and the letter I got back on August the 24th, the chairman has not changed his mind. But it raises a lot of red flags when Mark Lloyd, is being appointed Chief Diversity Officer, has written about more diversity. What does that lead you to believe, that maybe they're trying to do something in a different way than what they might do just by rule, reinstituting the fairness doctrine. If the FCC tries to meddle with speech, it might not come under the push for a fairness doctrine because too many people are on top of that right now, particularly talk radio, conservative talk radio. So it could happen. We're fearful with the FCC meddling with media and broadcast ownership because the FCC could try and force stations to diversify ownership. And it seems to me that this would bring different opinions and political views to the table, and thus through the microphone of talk radio, you could end up with governmental interference in freedom of speech. And, when we only had a half a dozen radio stations, there may have been some justification for that. But my God, just think of what we got opportunities to get out any sort of dissenting point of view people want to get out. You've got the networks, you got cable TV, you got satellite TV, you got AM radio, you got FM radio, satellite radio, internet radio, YouTube, Twitter, newspapers, and I'll bet you that probably some 15-year-old would tell you I'm 3 generations behind the latest technology. But there's plenty of avenues for opinion and speech today, and we don't need the fairness doctrine.
There were some comments made by Mark Lloyd recently where he appears to suggest that Venezuela's approach to the nationalization of radio is representative of democracy. Senator, how do you respond to that?
I would respond to it that it's outright socialism. It's outright tending towards dictatorships, and all you got to do is follow Chavez over the last 12 or 13 years, and you know where he's headed. He's stretched the Constitution down there enough to become the same thing that happened in Germany in 1933.
Senator Grassley, isn't this just part of a bigger picture in that it's another example of the Obama administration trying to take over the running of day-to-day lives of every American? Well,
it can become that. Now, it depends on whether we keep Mark Lloyd under control and that the chairman keeps his word that they're going to institute the fairness doctrine, and I include not only in the front door, but in the back door. And the back door is where we have to be more observant to make sure it doesn't happen, and it could come through this diversity requirements on ownership.
Senator Charles Grassley, we really respect you and thank you for your time today.
Savage. Don't miss a minute of the Savage Nation. Download the podcast at 910knew.com.
It's Friday. Joining us now is our Eye on Hollywood, James Herson.
Thanks, Michael. It's not every day that a reality show star that young girls look up to does something, well, instructive